Tommy Lee.
Yeah, let's,
Tommy.
is Mr. Barstow, has he reached out to us yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Hold on for just a second here. I want to make sure I can get Mr. Barstow.
Are you giving him a call?
I am.
Okay, thank you. Just didn't want everybody to pick up and start calling him.
Something important to do, so I wasn't calling.
If you're joining us on YouTube, we're waiting for one more member to Zoom in for council, so stand by, please. We'll be back after this word from Alex Gaines. Ooh,
Paul is having some internet trouble. He'll join as soon as he can.
okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4, right?
Yeah, we got 5.
I will call this regular council meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Brandon, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, well, first of all, tonight I want to dedicate this meeting in memory of Lillian Mead. If you all remember Larry Mead as one of my Lions Club cohorts and also a former councilman, Larry Mead, and he was on our Licking County, I think, Sewer and Water Board for a while also. So Larry's been very active, and his wife passed away this past week. So we're going to dedicate this meeting in memory of Lillian Mead. Heavenly Father, help us to focus on 2 major trains of thought as we enjoy the month of May. Last week was National Police Officers Awareness Week. And in just a few weeks, we will again honor and remember our veterans on Memorial Day. In regards to our police officers in Ohio, in these short 5 months of 2021, we have lost 126 officers in the line of duty. And in reference to Memorial Day, let's try to remember the over 500,000 men and women that have given their lives so we can be free to do the things we love to do here in Pataskala. Lord, keep us strong and vigilant in our duties here tonight. We ask for your blessings, and we ask for all of this in your holy name. Amen. Okay, Kathy, roll, please.
Carter. Walter.
Here.
Eckerson.
Here.
Barstow. Hampshire.
Here.
Gaelic.
Here.
Lee.
Tommy? Here. Thank you. Okay, we have a quorum present. We're still trying to get Councilman Barstow to come in on Zoom, so.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I do know that I do need a motion from council to add a discussion about the notice of legislative authority from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for the Pro Julie Hatmart LLC, and that would be added under 8D.
Okay, I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Epperson, seconded by Mr. Gaelic. Discussion and roll.
Walter.
Yes.
Eckerson.
Yes.
Hampshire.
Yes.
Gaelic.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes. Okay, so the agenda has been amended. 8D, we will talk about the liquor control application. All right, first thing up is citizens' comments. If you'd like to check, please, Tim, all right? In the meantime, was there any items that anybody wished to remove from the consent agenda? Okay. Nope. Nobody wants to come and see us anymore and talk about all the good things that go on at the basketball. Okay, no citizens' comments tonight. Introduction, discussion, and approval of consent agenda matters.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Walther, seconded by Mr. Gaelic. Discussion? And roll.
Walter,
Yes.
Epperson,
Yes.
Hampshire,
Yes.
Gaelic,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Okay, consent agenda passes. On to reports. Just want to give a shout out. Last week was our Policeman's Awareness Week, and a big hats off to our PCPAA, which is the Police Citizens Academy alumni, whatever. I can always get that messed up, but those guys went out and got a lot of businesses to make sure our officers were appreciated with pizzas and food and goodies. So it was very appreciated by our officers, and just a reminder, keep that blue light on, whether it's Awareness Week or not. So Memorial Day, as I mentioned, we will have our celebration on Monday, Memorial Day, the 31st. I believe that's the 31st, right?
It is.
Okay, and we will start at the cemetery at 10, and then for a short service, and then up to Veterans Green at 11 for our larger service, including shooting the cannon. So you guys love that, so do I. So that's our Memorial Day celebration. I don't have that much else. I think I'll, no Todd yet? No Todd yet. Okay, we'll go back to him if he has anything under reports. Mr. Zetz,
I have nothing, thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Hicken,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We got a couple things. I was going to mention, offices were closed on May 31st, and the city is closed on July 5th. So July 6th would be our next meeting after that. I believe it's Tuesday. Also want to bring it to council's attention, kind of give you a little bit of an update on the Red Rock situation. I will say that Red Rock and the district seem to have come to an agreement, which is a good thing. That means that is moving forward. There was a significant amount of work thrown into that, probably from both Red Rock and the district, and my thanks to them. But that means that we did not get a part of the legislation done, and that was the road development agreement. So in consultation with Red Rock on Friday, and the road development agreement has to do with Refugee Road. Red Rock still has to perform all their site access activities, but there's an agreement between two developers so far about upgrading the Refugee Road corridor, and that includes the two intersections with Etna Parkway and Mink Street. And as a result, that agreement isn't really hammered out in its final form. So after talking to Red Rock on Friday, I'm asking that we table the legislation for Red Rock tonight. Red Rock knows I'm going to make this ask. They're okay with it. It does kind of leave them out a little bit on a limb, but with that said, they are, I think, is Mr. Barstow in the queue now, Kath?
Todd, are you out there?
He should be now.
He's in the waiting room.
No,
Admit.
yeah, go ahead and click on the admit.
trying to get it to move.
Well, we did discuss this in leadership, and are you asking to table 89, 90, and 91? Are they all Red Rock related?
They are.
Okay.
So, Todd, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
There he is.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. I would also say that the new governor's orders that have come out regarding masking, eliminating masking at gatherings and the COVID restrictions are due to cease June 2nd. I've got a document drafted to employees, but I would anticipate that this chamber will return to what it used to look like for the first meeting in June. Citizens would be allowed to come back in, directors will be back up along the sides, and your days will all be next to each other.
Hallelujah.
I still am waiting, as Brian and I discussed today, about whether or not the legislature is going to continue to allow remote access of elected officials. But we'll know that when we know it, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And I don't know, Brian, did I leave anything out of that?
Nope, you got it.
So,
Is that it?
well, my last thing would be, the buildings and grounds people will definitely remember, everybody else probably will, but we do have, the new door system in. It's not finalized yet, but this is a system that'll allow the building to lock between the hours of, say, 11 and 4 in the morning, or 5 or 6, whenever we choose. And it took a lot of work. There's some cosmetic work to be done yet. There'll be there'll be keys for the doors, but there'll also be an access keypad on the north side of the building. And per the discussions of, I think, the different groups that vetted that. And that is all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anything for Tim? Mr. Barstow, can you hear me? Todd?
Yes.
I wanted to come back to you. Did you have anything as far as reports, Mr. Barstow?
No.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Nicholson?
Thank you, Mayor. We have officially kicked off the 22 budget process. We have prepared all the capital planning templates and have distributed them to the directors. So we're going to be working on that over the next couple months, the 5-year plan as far as the CIP goes. You guys approved the budget schedule as part of the consent agenda, so we're off to the races as far as budget is concerned. The audit is 98% wrapped up. I think they're just finalizing the review of the CAFR document, making sure that everything ticks and ties. The last feedback I got from the auditor, the audit manager in charge, was that this looks like it'll be another clean audit. They don't expect to have any significant issues. That's awesome. But again, it's only probably 95, 90% done. So one would hope you wouldn't get an 11th hour surprise, but you never know. We advertised for an interview at a number of candidates for the assistant finance director position, and we're working our way through that and hope to have an official appointment here probably within a week. That's all I have.
Probably within what? I'm
A
sorry.
week.
A week? Okay. Anything for Jamie? Thank you, sir. And you're handling Chris tonight?
I am. I'm handling Chris Schrock. I'll try to talk like a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. The utility committee held a meeting on 5/13. I won't steal Mr. Walter's thunder. He can give you an update on what we talked about there. Chris mentioned that following a spike mentioned at the last council meeting, the wastewater sample saw a significant decrease after he reported it to us. That's a good thing. It's what we always see. We see a spike and then she falls back down. But that does seem to play out what we hear about happening in the community. Another big item to discuss is the water treatment plant, or the sewage treatment plant, or the water reclamation facility upgrade. I know I live rather close to that facility. I could smell an off smell this weekend. It's probably a function of all the lagoons are working the way they're supposed to, but the weather's getting warmer. And I know that there were both Facebook and people in my own neighborhood said that's kind of a funky smell. To me, it wasn't sulfury, but you could tell it was a little bit different. Good news on that front. Tomorrow, the oxidation ditch, and to remind everybody, the oxidation ditch is the big round ditch that the biotreatment takes place in, for lack of a better term. With the new aeration system will be brought online. It'll take a couple of days to fill it up and get it working. The lagoon, once we begin the treatment process there, we will populate it hopefully with bugs that we have saved. And if we don't have any, or if they died in holding, we have an agreement with Southwest Licking Sewer and Water. They will provide us with some treatment bugs to break down the waste products. Once they get that dialed in, the following week, the aeration system would be turned off. The lagoons would end up going through their natural process, but they'll eventually drain out and we'll be using the oxidation ditch again. I think that odor-wise, I think that means if they dial it in quickly and it's not turn a dial, it's, you know, there'll be some adjustments that have to be made. So we may see some more odor complaints, but we have definitely entered the very final phase of this. And so I'm optimistic about that, if not the 80-degree temperatures this week. I realize that's, but bringing it back online is absolutely good.
Yeah.
So the lagoon system is very temperamental, and that's why you get the odors when you do. So the other thing I was going to say is, and this is just going to steal a little bit of Mr. Walter's thunder. We did at the utility committee meeting talked about the codified ordinances. Chris anticipates that 4384, 4385 should remain on the table, but would come off at the first meeting in June. I think we've reached the point where that's concluded. And the final thing is Chris submitted his consumer confidence report to the EPA. That's the report that talks about all the contaminants or lack thereof in our drinking water system. And that was completed since the last meeting. And I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
Anything for Tim/Chris? All right, very good. Alan?
Thank you, Mayor. We completed the culvert replacement on Summit Glen Road. That was actually a project that we authorized last year, but we're waiting on good weather to get that done. It's a 48-inch culvert. So that was completed on Friday. Anticipate opening up Summit Glen Road again tomorrow. And then again tomorrow, the Broad Street paving out here in front of the admin building, that is scheduled to happen tomorrow. They'll have flaggers and such to keep the traffic moving on that. We did put the word out on that as well. So that's should be complete tomorrow if everything goes per plan and the weather cooperates. And then the other thing is there was some work going on Broad Street in Oak Meadow over the weekend, I guess, and it started again today with some contractor just being out in the middle of the Oak Meadow Drive with no traffic control and pumping stuff off to the side. So I've got them out there today. They did not have a permit, so we got them off of the road. They're working to rectify their errors, and we'll presume, I anticipate the next couple of days with the properly functioning job there. So other than that, happy to answer any questions.
Anything for Alan?
I just have a couple real quick, Alan. Saw some, the message boards out, 310 being closed south of 40. Could you give us some detail on that if you know anything about that?
Yeah, that's the ODOT project on State Route 40. They will be closing just the north leg. So traffic on 40 will be able to continue in east and west, and traffic to the south will continue, but there will be no connection to the north. They currently have that scheduled for May 24th, so next Monday to start. And I believe that's supposed to take 2 weeks.
Okay, great. Second question. First round of mosquito spraying, do you have any idea when that will begin?
We typically do that the Wednesday before Memorial Day, which is creeping up on us here quickly. Usually I already have that scheduled. I think I may have already scheduled that with Lincoln County, but I will double check tomorrow.
Yeah, I just didn't see it in here, so I was just wondering. I'm sure everybody will be interested when that starts up, the fogging starts. Yep. And then lastly, you have in your report a reference to Merritt Road and working with the health department on that. It's number, well, what is that? Is that 4B, 4C?
Okay.
Any details on that you can share with us?
There's a resident out there and an old tile out there. He believes that there is some septic overflow coming through that tile.
Okay.
So we've been working with the health department to try and identify the problem and then try and figure out where it's coming from and take action to address that.
Thanks.
You said 2 and that was 3.
You're right.
You got anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Anything you're changing?
That's it.
Anything else for
It was
Alan?
two-ish.
2-ish. 2-ish. Very good. Scott?
Thank you, Mayor. One item to highlight that is not in my report. We've been interviewing for the zoning inspector vacancy. Unfortunately, we did not have any successful candidates, so the job has been reposted and will close mid-June, and we hope to get a few more folks to apply for the position. So in the interim, I will be the temporary zoning inspector. Aside from that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
So you get to ride around the truck.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
I do have one thing for our temporary zoning inspector. Our people out there on Taylor who had the used car lot, that sign seems to have been taken down, which is great. Now they have a new sign. A huge summer sale is going on there for mulch, with a bunch of other little signs, maybe 6 of them. And just want to let you know about that. I'm betting they don't have a permit for any of that.
I do not believe they do, and the gentleman who owns the car dealership has been put on notice that he has until a particular deadline. He wanted to do storage of boats, RVs, et cetera, which requires conditional use, so I said, you have until this deadline to submit that, to go for BZA. If that doesn't happen, then we'll continue with the code enforcement process. So it is on our radar. That one was with the huge summer mulch there was not.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I know you're wearing several hats right now, but it is the summer season, and the mattress sale signs and the house power washing signs and everything else is just, it's crazy, but thanks for what you do. It's not easy. Obviously, if we have to repost. Anything else for Scott? All right, Lanier.
Thank you, Mayor. Quick recap. Tonight, we have a resolution on 2021-020 to go into a contract with Law General to begin the car park project, at least the site prep work, so we can actually have our asphalt path and also get our multi-generational fitness equipment in there. So that resolution is in front of you tonight. Next on the list, this past weekend was a success. We had beautiful weather on Saturday night. We had our soccer Saturday, and then we came back and had a nice 5K run, the Pace with Passion. And then immediately afterwards, the Pataskala Recreation Association, they actually sponsored our first movie night. So it was good to have Jumanji The Next Level playing, had people out there with their basically chairs and blankets and everything out there till almost 11 o'clock at night enjoying the night. So it was definitely a success to see, to kick off our spring season. Next thing to kick off our season, we're expecting inspection for our pool facility next week, and then we actually open up May 29th. So a lot of good things going on there. Filled up the baby pool today and then started the process for the large pool. So that process is ongoing, and I'm looking forward to our opening season.
So how was the baby pool? Cold, right?
I didn't get in it yet.
Well, congratulations on your first movie night. I was hoping the weather was going to hold. In fact, it ended up holding all weekend, actually, so that was a good deal.
I want to give a huge kudos to the streets guys and also the police officers. Definitely over the past 2 weeks when we had all that rain, if it wasn't for some of the streets guys coming out and helping us to get caught up on our mowing, the foundation wouldn't have been mowed like the way it was mowed. And also for the movie night, the 2 officers came over, did some PR, actually with the caboose and the lead in the race. So thank you.
Great. Good. Anything for Lanier? Yes.
I was going to comment and say that the grass looked great at the fields. It's at quite a few parks this weekend. Any progress on impeding vehicle traffic on the new path?
Yes, I have to put we got the barricades now.
Okay.
We went and picked some up. So we're going to start putting those barricades there, at least on that section, because we got a couple more complaints after the fact.
Okay.
People driving
Just
on.
curious. I've seen it quite frequently, so
Yeah.
just curious.
Yep.
Awesome.
Good
Thank you,
old
sir.
boulders don't work, huh?
No. Well,
They
could
moved
work.
those.
Oh, they could work. So we might have some fun with the voters tomorrow. We'll go ahead and do that temporarily.
All right, anything else for Lanier? Your busy season is starting.
Just lovely.
Chief Brooks,
I have nothing tonight. Answer any questions.
anything for the chief? All right, any committee chair reports? Yes.
I do. I have a utility committee report. On the 13th, we had our committee meeting. We, as was noted in Chris's report, we did go through the water and sewer ordinances that have been edited We reviewed them. We didn't have any comment. I think there were maybe a couple minor comments at most. We did have a motion to bring that to council once those comments are addressed. I again applaud Chris for having the residents, or I should say the landowners, landlords, come in, give feedback on these, then take that and incorporate it as best as possible into these two ordinances to make them, or actually it's three ordinances, there's a rate ordinance also, but the three ordinances make them so that they are as palatable as they can be, as reflective of what the landlords have given us comments for. And some of those comments and some of that discussion took quite a long time. Second thing we talked about some staffing concerns. Chris brought to our attention that there may be a need for, or that he feels there is a need for a field technician, somebody that would actually perform some of the turn-offs, some of the turn-ons of the water, depending on which it is. That person would work directly for the billing manager, and this would relieve some work that some of their people, some of the other service people are doing, relieve that so that they can get out and do some of the maintenance that is needed to be done and carried out throughout the year, exercising valves, hydrants, so forth and so on, that they really haven't been able to address as much as Chris would like to. One of the specific items he brought up were the pumps in the lift stations, and they need to be serviced. They need to be greased and worked through so that they're not reacting to these things breaking down. They're doing preventative maintenance to keep them from breaking down. So definitely something we probably will see for I think he said for the 2022 budget. Third was that we talked about was Scotland Ridge. Southwest Licking Water and Sewer is in the process of running some mains up 310. That will, per our agreement with the utility district, they will then sometime late this summer, early fall, they will perform a procedure where they'll turn over their water lines, will then service Scotland Ridge, which is in their service area, and per our agreement would be theirs to service. Chris is way out in front of this. They've done a lot of things to look at making sure pressures aren't going to change, volume of water, that type of stuff isn't going to change. So the residents really aren't going to notice a difference in water quality, although I think Chris alluded that maybe the city's water is a little better. But he did say that they've been way in front of it. They've been looking at making sure that it's that the residents up there really won't notice. They might even see a slight discount in their water rates, at least for the time being. So that will happen. He's going to get information out in the billings that's coming up, that they'll see this occurring later this year. We also talked about some issues at the water treatment plant. He is finding out that one of the iron treatment canisters, I guess, has a slow leak in it. He's trying to have it limp along as best he can. He did give us warning that that will be expensive to replace when that does come have to be done. The other thing we talked about was strontium in the wastewater treatment plant 2. In his report, he talks about this fluctuating rate or percentage. He's still looking into it. They're trying to figure out why they're getting these strange readings and strange quantities for their water. I'm sure he'll figure it out. And then last, we did talk about the water reclamation facility update. He gave us the update for when they were going to be turning this over, going back to the lagoon treatment. I'll add something that Tim did not. Unfortunately, when you look at the weather, this is probably not the best situation for turning it over. Cloudiness, no rain, and heat are usually a good recipe for odor. So and I know Chris is well aware of this and he's looking at it, but the flip side of it is to get these surface aerators offline and get them returned so that we do not continually get billed for them. We've got a deadline, I think, of June 1st to get them back to the supplier. So it kind of has to happen here, and we're at the end of this project. So we had a week of rain or whatever, it might have made it a little more palatable odor-wise, but that's what's happening this week. So I'm happy to answer any questions. It was a very good meeting. As always, Chris was extremely prepared, and I just want to, if you guys look at your reports, I mean, the water report and the sewer report, it's great. It actually is kind of good reading. Maybe a little dry, but it's good reading.
Or wet.
Or wet, whichever. I enjoyed it. So that's all.
Any questions, Randy? Okay. Any other committee reports? Need to make any meetings? All right. So Tommy and Todd, you still with us?
I'm here.
Okay, very good. We're going to start into our old business here. Looks like 4384, 4385 are going to remain tabled. So first up is ordinance 2021-4386 for a third reading.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Barstow, seconded by Mr. Walther. Kathy, when you're ready, third reading.
Ordinance 2021-4386, this is the third reading, an ordinance to rezone property located at 13850 Cleveland Road Southwest, parcel numbers 063-141-150-00.000, totaling 18.44 plus or minus acres in the city of Pataskla from the medium low density residential R87 zoning classification to the medium density residential R20 zoning classification.
Discussion?
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2021-4386.
Got a motion by Mr. Walther,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Gaelic. Discussion? And roll.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hampshire,
Yes.
Gaelic,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Epperson,
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Ordinance 2021-4389 for a third reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
this was one of the ones that,
Yeah, but it'll have
as a reminder.
Yeah, it'll have to go through and work, as our city administrator mentioned, the next three, due to ongoing discussion, he would like to see tabled, but we'll have to go through the motions first of reading them, correct?
No, you don't want
No, I'm going to actually I'd like to make a
Okay.
motion to table ordinance 2021-4389.
Okay, got a motion to table by Mr. Walther, seconded by Mr. Gaelic. Kathy, when you're ready?
Hampshire,
Yes.
Gaelic,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Epperson,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
4389 is tabled. 2021-4390 for a third reading.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table ordinance 2021-4390.
Got a motion to table by Mr. Walther, seconded by Mr. Epperson. Discussion and roll.
Gaelic,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Epperson,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hampshire,
Yes.
4390 is tabled. 2021-4391 for a third reading.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table ordinance 2021-4391.
Got a motion to table by Mr. Walther, seconded by Mr. Epperson. Discussion and roll.
Lee,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Epperson,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Hampshire,
Yes.
Gaelic,
Yes.
4391 is tabled. Ordinance 2021-4392 for a second reading.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Epperson, seconded by Mr. Walther. Kathy, when you're ready, second reading.
Ordinance 2021-4392, this is the second reading, an ordinance adopting an updated comprehensive plan for the city of Pataskla.
Discussion? Okay, ordinance 2021-4393 for a second reading.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Epperson, seconded by Mr. Gaelic. Kathy, when you're ready, second reading, please.
Ordinance 2021-4393. This is the second reading, and ordinance approving the execution of a community reinvestment area agreement between the City of Pataskla and TPA Group, LLC.
Discussion? Looks like I need a motion to amend the ordinance by substitution, so I'll be looking for that.
I'll give you that.
Okay.
Motion to amend, I'll make a motion to amend the ordinance by
Okay.
substitution.
Got a motion to amend by Mr. Walther,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Gaelic. Discussion and roll on the motion to amend.
Epperson,
Yes.
Barstow,
No.
Hampshire,
yes,
Gaelic,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Okay, motion to amend has passed. Any other discussion on this? All right, ordinance 2021-4394 for a second reading.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Walther.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gaelic. Kathy, when you're ready, second reading, please.
Ordinance 2021-4394, this is the second reading, an ordinance declaring the improvement of certain real property located in the city of Pataskla, Licking County, Ohio, to be a public purpose, declaring such property to be exempt from real property taxation, designating specific public infrastructure improvements that, once made, will directly benefit the parcels for which improvement is declared to be a public purpose, requiring an annual service payment in lieu of taxes, establishing a municipal public improvement tax increment equivalent fund, authorizing the execution of a tax increment financing agreement, and providing related authorizations pursuant to Ohio Revised Code sections 5709.40B, 5709.42, 5709.43, 5709.832, and 5709.85.
I'm also looking for a motion to amend this one also, please.
Nope, I'm gonna, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend ordinance 2021-4394 by substitution.
Got a motion to amend by Mr. Walther,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Epperson. Kathy, when you're ready.
Hampshire,
yes,
Gaelic,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Epperson,
Yes.
Barstow,
No.
Okay, motion to amend passes. We're back to discussion. Is there any discussion on 4394? Okay, resolution, any new business? I think all we have is 8D. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I guess we need a little discussion on this. Can you tell us where this business is at in the system, if they are? First of all, where's the business at, this location?
The property's located on the northwest corner of Broad and Columbia. It was a former bar that went out of business or was sold or something.
Across from Danny's.
Is this
Across from Danny's Midway Grill was the other bar, and this is the one in question, correct?
That's correct.
That is now painted turquoise and white. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Where are we at with the, what kind of business? It sounds like they might be putting in a convenient mart or a bar or something. Do we have any idea what this business is?
We have no idea what the business is. They don't have any permits. No one's been to talk to us about it. It came to our attention, aside from the aesthetic change, there was something from the Department of Liquor Control that asked about typical form, when was this annexed, et cetera. So filled that out, and that came to our attention. So we sent them a courtesy letter to the property location, and also included that with our response to the Liquor Control Board, just so they're aware that there's no permit for this to be there. That being the case, it might be troubling to give them a violation letter because they aren't actually conducting business at that location. So we did bring it to their attention, the property owners, saying you need permits to operate. But until they open their doors and start conducting business, it's technically not a violation.
And I talked to Kathy earlier. Would you explain to council again what we talked about as far as these are for discussion to say yes or no?
This, and I'll defer to the law director, but it's to determine whether or not we request a hearing on this application. And it can only be for very specific reasons to request a hearing.
Because we don't have any track record with this business, right, chief?
Never heard of it.
Can you help us out, law director? Somebody's asking for a brand new liquor license of a business that's not even established in the city yet through our planning and zoning department.
I don't know. I mean, I'm really not sure. I honestly have to look into it. I know we got someone in our office who does a lot of restaurant work and also does.
Yes,
liquor.
Mr.
I mean, I've seen
Barstow?
a lot of Trex transfers.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, the liquor permits come from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, not our planning and zoning department.
I know that.
Anyway, I mean, I looked it up on the land records, the LLC that owns this was requesting that us review the liquor permit is the name of the people who now own the property. They bought it in November of last year. That was when the transfer was effective. So, they had some difficulty in getting everything transferred, getting the liquor license transferred into the name of the LLC. I don't know. You say we don't have a track record with them. Chief, do we have any problems at that location? That location's been a tavern since I've been in the city. Do we have any problems with them before when it was previously owned?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay, so, they're asking for a C1, C2 permit, so I don't know what they're gonna do. They're gonna open a convenience store, like the mayor said, or what is it? I don't remember what C1 does, C1 and C2, I don't remember what permits those are. So. I don't know how they have a convenience part. There's really not a whole lot of places to park
Well,
at that
that's,
location.
Mr. Barstow, that's exactly, Mayor, that's exactly my question on this is that intersection's already somewhat dangerous with its sight distance issues. I've seen, and I'm not, there's been some issues where people have parked and their truck or their longer vehicle is sticking out into Columbia Road, at least into the southbound lane. I don't know if they own the lot across the street potentially, because that has now been demoed. But I think parking for a convenience store seems to be very difficult there. So, I mean, it's already tough. I know that's under a different review, guys, and I fully understand that, but, yeah.
Right, because remember, all this is just for the liquor permit, which I think Todd and Andy were both, getting to, and that has nothing to do with what business is going to be there, what's it going to look like, how's it going to operate. I mean, this is to transfer. This is for them to get a new license, and you have no idea they could get in, transfer it out of here.
Okay.
It could.
Sure. Okay, so
I think that C1, C2 is sale off premises, I think. And that gives me real pause. As Andy said, I mean, that intersection already has enough problems just with the sight line. To put a convenience store there. Ay, ay, ay.
Well,
I guess we
if
have
I
to-
might, Mr. I know the responses must be no later than June 1st. So we're under a little bit of a time crunch.
in response to them, whether we say yay or nay.
Correct.
Just for council's benefit, C1 is beer only in original sealed containers and carry out only. And C2 is wine and mixed beverages in sealed containers for carry out.
So it's fair.
It's going to be a carry
That
out.
is C1 and 2.
Could easily turn into a drive-through also with the right accident there.
They don't like it.
Shouldn't it make more sense for it to go through the zoning process and see what it's gonna be and everything before we approve something?
well, you're not really approving anything. This is whether or not you want a hearing at the Department of Liquor, Division of Liquor Control. I mean, they're approving, though. You're not approving anything with this. This is just, do you want to have a hearing with the liquor control?
Because that's not something we would bring up to the liquor control and say, hey, this is a dangerous intersection. They don't care,
No.
right? Okay. This is just liquor license. Forget about where the building's at, I guess is what you're saying.
Correct.
We don't have any issues with. 'Cause we don't have
Maybe
any-
if you knew the folks who were running this and they had problems in the past in the city because they operated some other establishments that we had issues with, and maybe you have a reason to say, well, I don't. Now they just shell gamed it. And,
That's what I mean. We don't have a track record with these folks. So.
The reason is if it's too close to a school or to a church or that kind of thing.
Well, there is a church on Railroad Street. Railroad Street.
I would think that Danny's Midway would be closer than.
Yeah, I'd have to say that the
You're right.
Midway.
You already have- Okay.
Than so many people.
He might have been grandfathered in. Who knows?
He definitely has adequate parking.
Okay, what's council's pleasure here? We do some investigating or just let it go because we don't have enough information? Scott's going to obviously take a look at and try to get some more information on this business, correct?
I've been in contact with them. I sent them a courtesy letter to let them know that if you are going to operate a business at that location, permits are required, but I have not yet heard back. So I've attempted to reach out, but all the information I have is the same information you have there.
So I'm not seeing anybody against them getting a liquor license. We just don't, I mean, that's what this has to be all about. So. Any objections? Anybody want a hearing? Not seeing anything. All right.
What do you need on this, Mayor? Is this a motion?
No, I don't need anything.
You don't need anything?
Nope, don't need anything. Since we're not pursuing it.
well, you will be returning it because you do have to check one of the two boxes. You have to check. We do not request a hearing, and then arguably Kathy would sign it. As clerk of council.
Typically, if no action is taken, we check the box for no hearing is requested.
Yeah, we've never gone around the room on that. We've just not done anything, right? Okay. All right. Additional citizens' comments. Would you like to poke your head out the door and see if anybody's there, please? And I'll start, hey, Memorial Day is coming up, so I hope you'll be able to spend some time with us at the cemetery and Veterans Green on Monday, the 31st, and remember what Memorial Day is all about. I'm excited for the pool. Congratulations again on your first movie. When's your next movie night?
June 25th at Freedom Park. We're gonna be playing, I believe it's the, what do you call that? Adam's Family.
Adam's Family.
Yeah.
Dustin, what do you got for us?
I have nothing, man.
Nothing, Mayor.
Getting close, right? Any day now.
Any day now. Yeah.
Okay, very good. We'll be praying for you and let us know.
Thank you.
Mr. Zetz? Nothing. Mr. Walter?
Just two things, and I mean two things. I want to thank Lanier for his effort all weekend. I know he had help, but it takes a lot to keep all of that organized and having everybody, he told me a story about a couple that was volunteering. They were on their date night and they were passing out popcorn. So that's what the task was about. So that's awesome. The second part to that I'm bringing up, Lanier in his report talked about a levy that is being placed by the Licking County Park District. And I think that we should be very knowledgeable and answer questions correctly when that levy does not support Pataskla Parks. So just making sure we all are very clear on that. So there's no confusion between anything that the city may put on the ballot is not related to Licking County Parks District. So that's all.
And thank you, sir, for, I had a call on, was it Saturday afternoon? The restrooms were locked and she didn't know how to call, so she called the mayor. So I reached out to everybody and thanks Lanier for unlocking the restroom for those 7-year-old boys and girls that couldn't hold it any longer.
You're welcome.
Jude, what do you got?
Nothing.
Okay, somebody take us home.
You
We got two.
Two on Zoom.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Barstow?
Nothing, sir?
Okay, Mr. Lee?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Epperson. Discussion and roll.
Gaelic,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Epperson,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Shire.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.
It's still light out. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.